Good evening. Am I audible to everyone? Good evening. Am I audible? You just wait for 2 more minutes, please. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mishra. Am I audible to you?
Hi, yes, yeah.
Yeah. So are you loud and clear? Great. Would you also have your PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, so just few slides. Yeah,
All right. So I would request you that when you're not presenting, you could have your video on. That would be my request to you.
yeah. Right.
And requesting everybody in the audience to drop in their queries ongoing during the session in the chat box, which will be taken up by me later on, right at the end. Hello, Ekaterina. Good evening.
Hello, Tina. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, we wait for 2 more minutes, please, and then we begin.
Definitely.
So good evening, we're ready to begin. Welcoming everybody to session 3 of MSH ESG Entrepreneurship series. We thank our partners, the Global Education and Leadership Foundation and Entrepreneurship Sports Generation for the relentless support they have shown, and Ekaterina for all the coordination support. Our topic for discussion today would be the moonshot, taking a business to the next level. Our speaker for today would be Mr. Vibhu Mishra, Global Project Lead, Entrepreneurship Sports Generation. Please allow me to introduce Sir. Sir is an experienced sustainability professional with over 9 years of experience in India, Germany, and the UK. Currently spearheading global entrepreneurship and education projects with a strong focus on technology and sustainable developmental goals. He's previously been a German Chancellor Fellow with the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation in Germany and a research scholar at Humboldt University. He also writes regular op-eds on policy and development-related issues. Prior to that, Sir has worked with ICICI Foundation, CSR of the largest private sector bank in India, on employment and economic growth-related projects with a strong focus on women and rural areas. We welcome you, Sir, and over to you, Sir.
Yeah, thank you so much and for the invite, and thank you everyone for joining the call today. So, as the topic suggests, it is about taking businesses to the next level, and I would like to start with saying that even Christopher Columbus set out to discover India and ended up finding America. We talk about Louis Pasteur, Alexander Fleming, Thomas Edison, and our own C.V. Raman, Srinivasa Ramanujan. All these were people whose reach, in the words of poet Robert Browning, exceeded their grasp. So to find the next big tech-enabled societal revolution, we need more dreamers. We hope to change the world, who hope to change the world. Entrepreneurs are the key to this process because by their very nature, they refuse to settle for the status quo. They dream of a world that works differently, one in which they can improve their own lot and improve the lot of humanity simultaneously. So what entrepreneurs do, venture capitalist Vinod Khosla argues, that they imagine what keeps impossible to most people and take it all the way from impossible to improbable, to possible but unlikely, to plausible, to probable, and at the end, to make it real. All these individuals and companies chase the radical and seemingly impossible a moonshot. They chase ideas to solve problems that affect millions, even billions of people. A vital first step to fueling moonshot innovations is creating more efficient operations and businesses, controlling costs, protecting assets through strategic technological implementation. Recent successes in areas such as pharma, biotech, IT, space gives us a great assessment of our globally competitive skills. If we talk about healthcare industry, even before COVID vaccine, one of the India's most prominent moonshot in the healthcare industry was rolling out the pulse polio immunization program on 2nd October 1994, when the country accounted for about 60% of the global polio cases. A high commitment from policymakers, health workers, frontline workers, to partners and community volunteers with meticulous planning at every level turned their attempt into a huge success, where within 2 decades, India received polio-free certification from World Health Organization on 27th of March, 2014. Almost 12 lakh children were immunized in a single day at around 4,000 centers. So this, even in Africa, Mr. Nelson Mandela launched the Kick Polio Out of Africa campaign. This moonshot caused India to be free of polio for a decade. If we talk about Aadhaar, it was another moonshot where we had to generate unique IDs for almost every Indian. So that was another moonshot which we can kind of talk about, an example from the initiatives taken by government. Another revolutionary breakthrough in biotech was the development of COVID vaccine using the mRNA technique. It is a story that began 3 decades ago with a little-known scientist who refused to quit. Before messenger RNA, which is mRNA, was a multi-billion-dollar idea. It was a scientific backwater for researchers and a German biotech company, which is BioNTech, in collaboration with Pfizer, developed the first COVID-19 vaccine using that technology. It was also an audacious and ambitious, nearly impossible moonshot by an almost unknown German biotech company based in the city of Mainz, Germany. Talking about Germany, we have strong collaboration opportunities with the strongest European Union economy. The synergies between India and Germany are many, and it has been highlighted by multiple bilateral meetings between German Chancellor Angela Merkel and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They have signed several wide-ranging agreements to deepen strategic cooperation and exchange notes on way to boost bilateral trade. And these bilateral trades will definitely help startups, not only in India, but also in Germany, to expand their businesses, scale, and collaborate. So some of those bilateral agreements were strengthening cooperation in the field of artificial intelligence and digital transformation, encourage and develop cooperation on AI tech, as both recognize the potential of AI and how it will fundamentally impact the world. Build a collaborative partnership by leveraging advantages on each side, recognizing increasing integration of hardware and software in developing IoT and AI solutions for societal benefits. Both countries, India and Germany, agreed on working together closely to conduct joint bilateral and multilateral research and development activities on the development and use of AI. So how it will impact businesses. So as we see, there are a lot of mentions of IoT and AI between India and Germany. So startups working in this space will have lots of opportunities to collaborate with startups in Germany, and then how to access that. So which we will cover very in the next part of this session. So again, improved cooperation between German and Indian companies, which are part of the same global value chains. Both sides always stress the unique opportunity to enhance Indo-German collaboration in the area of AI for health. Germany and India also want to foster business cooperation in the digital sector. Both leaders recognized the importance of fostering collaboration between startups. Conduct boot camps for startups, which will help create an ecosystem for promoting innovation and fostering entrepreneurship in the digital sector. German and Indian digital companies will jointly work towards further enhancing the scope of market opportunity and bilateral investments in each other's countries and creating greater bonds between their thriving tech ecosystem. Now, one very interesting initiative that came up a couple of years ago was German-Indian Startup Exchange Program, Ginseng. The main objectives of this program is basically expanding frontiers of trade and investment through innovation and knowledge. The leaders acknowledged the successful work under the Ginseng in promoting the exchange between both startup ecosystems. The new Ginseng program introduced a new German accelerator program called Next Step India, which could lead to a full German accelerator program for German startups in India. Establishment of cluster-oriented structures, curriculum development, training of trainers, support for the development of joint training institutes are some of the great initiatives taken by both the governments. There are several efforts also taken by a German company called Bosch. Bosch set up a skill development center in Bangalore to support India's skilling mission and train the labor force using German labs and technologies. Bosch's modern skill development center houses 7 learning facilities within it, including a mechatronics lab, modern manufacturing lab, a modern carpentry lab, and information communication technology lab. And there are a couple more which are coming up. There are several exchange and support programs for startups and individuals from India to go to Germany and learn and exchange ideas. Some of those exchange programs are research scholarships offered by Alexander von Humboldt Foundation and DAAD, DAAD, German Chancellor Fellowship, which I am a recipient, Indo-German Young Leaders Forum, this is another private initiative, and a German Startup Association initiative. These programs help budding startup founders to interact and learn from peers as well as from the ecosystem. I'll just take a pause here and let everyone if they have any questions, then before touching upon another important bilateral agreement that really came just a few days ago between India and Denmark. So I'll just take a small pause.
So, Mr. Mishra, if you allow me to interject,
Yeah.
on behalf of Meiji Startup Hub, we are recently partnered with Ginseng.
Oh, that's great. That's really good to know. Thank you so much.
As a reminder, you're welcome to add your questions to the chat box here, and we'll be super glad to address those questions near to the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Kavya. Okay, so I would move to the next part, which is we also saw the Danish Prime Minister visiting India and announcing the Green Strategic Partnership to further strengthen bilateral relations. Both sides inked several G2G agreements that will provide for deepening of cooperation in the areas of renewable energy, environment, economy, climate change, and science and technology. These are really, really important strategic areas for the startups, and also this will provide how the future would look like for the startups when it comes to the partnership between India and EU, and most importantly, Germany and Denmark. To deepen cooperation in green tech, one MOU was signed between Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and Danfoss on establishing a center of excellence for addressing climate change. Both the countries have also agreed on a 5-year action plan in the following sectors, which is water, environment, renewable energy, integration into the grid, climate action, resource efficiency and circular economy, sustainable and smart cities, businesses, and trade investments. I'm sure these avenues will create many opportunities for the startups working at the intersection of technology and sustainability. With an alarming rise in global temperatures and visible effects of climate change in Earth's ecosystem, launching moonshots by businesses in sustainability is the need of the hour. In the journey to launch audacious, disruptive moonshots, here are some questions upcoming businesses today and upcoming entrepreneurs today need to find answers to. How to transition into a circular economy without compromising on profits? How to promote sustainable practices within business models that drive innovation while supporting investor needs? These questions are crucial for building startups of tomorrow which thrive on sustainability and innovation. In fact, finding answers to these questions requires a combined effort from all the stakeholders involved. Solving or even aiming to tackle climate change is the greatest moonshot we can aim at. Talking about tech and space industry, another example from United States, one of the most successful and ambitious moonshots of the mankind in this century was announced by President Kennedy on 25th of May 1961. The US planned to put people on the moon and return them safely to Earth, and 8 years later, Kennedy's initial moonshot challenge, 2 American astronauts took the giant leap and for mankind and walked on the moon for the first time. However, the bigger impact of that moonshot was the resultant building of a massive military and industrial innovation complex that propelled the US to be top of the industrial economy. The industrial economy, in simple terms, grew at its peak by 1975 by selling excess production from one place to another by connected pathways. Another spin-off of this moonshot was APRANET, kicked off in 1966, which eventually became Internet. Internet gave rise to the knowledge economy driven by connecting people via the World Wide Web. One of the other moonshots, offshoots of this moonshot was a technology named GPS, which is now powering at-home pizza delivery to rental cabs via location-driven business models. It also helps agriculture and other businesses in developing economies to have services targeted in those areas. India too profited from this knowledge economy race by leveraging its talented workforce and grew up top-notch grew top-notch tech companies and also made Bangalore the startup capital of the world along with Silicon Valley and Beijing. Colonizing Mars, 3D printed organs, Neuralink, bionic humans, wireless electricity, etc. were part of the 14 moonshot technologies laid out in recent Bank of America note. In all, these technologies represent a market size of over $6 trillion by 2030. Elon Musk, we all have heard about him, always read his tweets. The CEO of Tesla is building a neurotech moonshot Neuralink, which could be capable of reading from and writing to the brain. Its immediate benefiters would be patients with brain and spinal cord injuries, as now they can easily interface with prosthetics, computers, and even smartphones. India is witnessing a huge paradigm shift in the way technology is perceived by businesses and the masses, especially post-COVID. The top 5 tech stocks today combinedly amass about $8 trillion in market value. In the next 15 years, India will have an opportunity to combine demographic dividend with artificial intelligence-driven hyper-innovation, thereby combining 50 billion smart things, machines, and devices with billions of connected humans. And this AI wave is different as there is simultaneous occurrence of business models and technology innovation. If you own an AI assistant at your home, like Alexa, you can already get a personalized digital experiences from ordering food, shopping, to watching movies, etc. And for businesses to be part of this massive upcoming ecosystem, they need to launch ambitious tech moonshots, which is crucial to stimulate the innovation ecosystem India currently needs. Going back to a few years before, when Chandrayaan-2 was launched, India had another chance at a moonshot, a privately funded Indian team, Team Indus. In fact, the only Indian team competing in the prestigious Google Lunar X Prize competition, with one goal to land a craft on the moon. This was a passion project of a small band of enthusiasts and investors. Even though the project failed to take off within its stipulated time, and the competition ended in 2018 without a winner, it will remain as India's first privately funded moonshot. This brings us to the understanding that such visionary technology projects also need precision engineering, making them costly and slow to build and very much prone to failures. Such a critical journey requires careful and advanced planning by businesses. It is easier to break moonshots into achievable expeditions on 3, 5, and 10-year horizon goals. It is important that governments, stakeholders, startups, and industries in the space come together to plan and launch such moonshots and take businesses to the next level. But how do we identify moonshots? While it is vital to envision the long-term future of the enterprise, moonshot projects inherently force innovators to ignore limitations on the current technologies and market opportunities. For example, Google Glass was a visionary project in AR. With this product, Google was betting that AR would be huge. The glass failed to generate enough traction in the market as the marketplace was not yet ready, but newer products like Pokemon Go and Snapchat Specs were a huge hit. That's the thing with moonshot. Targets. Sometimes they're undertaken without a full analysis of potential costs, risks, and benefits, just to be able to urgently focus attention and resources on specific objectives. Sometimes they may be goals that businesses know they can't reach with current technology and resources, but by stretching to meet them, they make it further, and they expect it. Why do I say that? For example, the government of India intends to eliminate the sale of petrol and diesel cars by 2030. That is a really ambitious program and a moonshot target in itself, considering there has to be a mass integration of renewable energy in the country. Even though the goal was revised to electrical vehicles making up to 30% of the total by 2030, and multiple challenges still remain in the implementation of such a policy, there has been a significant increase in the sales of electric vehicles and investments in the R&D of sustainable automobiles since then. In short, it has managed to significantly transition the manufacturing of vehicles to more towards EV enabled, and which will also contribute to sustainability targets. For this reason, it is vital for moonshot projects to align with the mission, values, and goals of the core business. So the question remains, how should you get started when trying to build a new future for the company? Proper reviewing and testing product market fit for new products through lightweight prototypes will allow businesses to adopt new tech and look for new revenue growth without losing focus on company objectives and goals. There are always risks involved when startups, businesses venture into new products or work to build radical solutions, but taking calculated risks is the key. If the established company wants to secure its business model from future disruption, it has to create scenarios or think of risks that probably do not exist today. We have to think of risks that will come up in future. Moonshot thinking can help to build these scenarios. What are the few things that we need to do? Shift approaches from products to problems. A business model that solves a problem has a larger scope of innovation in the long run as compared to products which may or may not have a market too. As long as you're brainstorming, you can get in as crazy with your solutions as you want. The best moonshot ideas were only considered unrealistic. Like, what if we could take our hands off the steering wheel? Combining pre-existing technologies sometimes result in unique ideas and solutions, like Amazon's Just Workout Tech, which is a combo of computer vision, sensors, and deep learning algorithm. Break down complicated processes into basic, simple elements. It's always easier to go back to foundational understanding and reassemble everything from the ground up. Learn from your own failures. And yes, most important thing is the focus. In the post-COVID world, while recovering from the devastation caused by the pandemic, the role of entrepreneurs, businesses, and innovators become extremely crucial. While upcoming disruptive tech solutions and adaptations of green tech and SDGs in businesses of tomorrow, social entrepreneurship needs to take front seat. But sometimes the largest barrier between businesses and innovation is not technological or operational, but it is just a simple question of asking the why. Eventually, if you don't do it, someone else will. And I would like to end with a quote by 18th century German philosopher Immanuel Kant. Look closely, the beautiful may be small. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'm available and ready for any questions that you might have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mishra. This was truly an insightful walkthrough. And I think even the way you framed it, and you called it the moonshot. So let's start with that. Why the moonshot? Mr. Mishra, over to you.
Yeah, so it's very important for the startups to actually think bigger, think for the solutions which we have not thought about yet. Think of look at products as problems or challenges that needs to be solved, and look at solutions which are completely innovative, which are which kind of exceeds the test of time. So because of these things, I try to frame it in that way. Yeah.
All right, sounds super. Fair enough. So before we proceed with the questions from the audience, we just do clarifications. So first of all, how would you view business as a business taking business to the next level? Given the fact that we're in virtual times and the pandemic times, what will be your sort of tips or go-to ways or do's or don'ts for young budding entrepreneurs to take their business to the next level?
So the thing that comes to my mind directly when we have to think about taking businesses to the next level is the importance of partnership and collaboration. So we have to think of models, we have to think of opportunities, businesses, we have to think of people who could actually tag along, who could actually help us to expand, who could actually help us in things that we cannot do. So as a startup, we can't do everything. So we have to find ways, we have to find interesting opportunities to collaborate with, to partner with, and then take it to next level. Collaboration and partnership and learning from others is the key, I think. Yeah.
That's very well put. Okay. So from an international standpoint, how would you view the Quad? Do you think that can take the Indian business and our bilateral, multilateral relations with these countries to the next level?
Yes. So basically, if I would be a startup and if I talk about my example, so I did go to Germany, but not on the startup thing, but on the research project. But basically, I would. So I emphasized more on the bilateral topics because these are the upcoming avenues and these are the upcoming collaboration opportunities between the countries that we just spoke. So if a startup is focusing in that area, or if they want to move into that area, they should actually look at different opportunities in those countries. For example, boot camps, for example, summits, for example, any other exchange programs like Ginseng has, a German startup association, etc., etc. They have. So if we identify those which are relevant to us, try and connect with them, try and find out possible synergies, connect with other co-founders, other founders in the region, and find out collaboration opportunities that would definitely be helpful to kind of take those businesses to truly international scales.
All right then. And on a parting note, Mr. Mishra, from AT Startup Hub for technology startups, as you know, we're an enabling platform to strengthen the tech startup ecosystem of the country. Any concluding remarks for our startup founders?
Thank you so much. And then, yeah, I would just say that please don't lose hope, and then please keep trying, and please keep trying new ways. I know it's hard. The journey is difficult. The journey is very lonely, but yeah, the solution is to rise again every time you fall or every time you fail. So that's the only way. Be persistent and try and find solutions to the bigger challenges. Yeah, that would be my last words to all the founders here.
All right then. All right then. Thank you, Mr. Mishra. That was indeed insightful and enriching. Thank you for the session today. And I conclude by thanking Ekaterina, by thanking TGLF and ESG, our esteemed partners. I sign off with the MSH motto: innovate, connect, collaborate. Let's make technology transform and integrate. Please don't forget to follow TGLF, ESG, and Meiji Startup Hub on all our social media handles. Have a super day ahead, everybody, and even better weekend. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's always a pleasure.